this. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to one and all present here today. And we are now, as you all know, that we are officially a Rotary Action Group for Menstrual Health and Hygiene. And we officially launched our logo 2 weeks ago by our General Secretary of Rotary International, John Hugo. And we are really excited about our RAG, and lots are happening around the globe with menstrual hygiene projects, creating awareness on the products available and menstrual hygiene itself. Is there anything else, Vidya or Daksha or Dennis, do you want to add? Or can I carry on with the four-way test?
Yeah,
please
carry
on,
Sharmila.
and welcome our guests.
And I would like to welcome Katerina to our meeting today, and thank you very much for agreeing, because we had been actually exchanging emails for a couple of months, and thank you very much. Now over to the four-way test. The four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you. Over to you, Daksha, or is it Dennis? I'm confused now.
It's me.
Yeah, please go over to you, Dennis.
Thank you. Thank you, Shamila. Allow me to introduce our today's speaker to you, because there's a lot to say about her. I try to be brief. Katerina Kotsali-Papadimitriou, I hope I pronounced your name more or less right, was born in Cyprus. She earned her architecture degree from the School of Architecture No. 1, École Nationale Supérieure des Beaux-Arts in Paris, and holds a diploma of profound studies in history and geography of populations and a doctorate in human geography. Since 1980, she has worked in an independent architect in Athens, planning houses, offices, and public buildings. She also served as a consultant during the historic preservation of 18th and 19th century architecture in Mytiamna on the island of Lesbos. She has been member of the board and shareholder of the company Metal Constructions of Volos SA, which manufactured heavy industrial and mechanical steel structures. She is married to George Papadimitriou, economist, and they have one daughter. Katerina grew up surrounded by Rotary because her father was a district governor. At age 19, she joined Rotaract. In 1993, she was inducted into the Rotary Club of Pendeli, making it the first mixed-gender club in Greece. Her service to RI includes being a member of the Rotary Foundation cadre of technical advisors, Rotary Public Image Coordinator, and Rotary International President's Representative. She also went door to door administering polio vaccine to children in Moradabad, India in 2009 as leader of Greece's first Rotary National Immunization Day team. She is member of the Rotary International Board of Directors, Vice Chair of RI Programs Committee, member of RI Audit Committee, and Grow Rotary Advisory Group. Her Rotary recognitions include the RI Avenues of Service Citation, the Rotary Foundation Regional Service Award for Polio-Free World, and the Rotary Foundation for Meritorious Service. She and her husband George are major donors to the Rotary Foundation. Wow, Katerina, the stage is yours. Over to you.
Thank you, Denise, for this wonderful introduction. A big thank you to all of you for inviting me today to this great meeting, and a special thank you to Sharmila for organizing this event. First of all, I would like to congratulate you because finally the Menstrual Health and Hygiene Rotary Action Group has been recognized by the Board of Directors last week, few days ago. It is really a milestone in the history of the action groups, and being part of the committee, of the programs committee this year as the vice president and next year as a chair of the committee, I believe we can do a lot together. Rotary International is really enhancing the idea of networking groups like the Synergy, and I'm very happy that PDG Urs Herzog is with us today, and all kinds of networking groups, either Rotary action groups or fellowships, because through these groups we can promote a lot the Rotary ideals and attract more members to our big family. So once more, congratulations, and looking forward to working with you. I'm going to speak to you a little bit about the history of women in Rotary, because a lot of us not know the background and what happened before. We are current Rotarians and active members of our great organization. Just let me share my screen. Okay. Okay. Women in Rotary. Why shall we bring it up? As we know, Rotary has been initially a mass organization. Women have been included as members of Rotary since 1987. Approximately today, only 40% of Rotarians are women. A little bit in the zones where I am responsible. Zone 21A, meaning the northern part of Eastern Europe and Central Europe, it's only 19.88%, let's say approximately 20%. In Zone 21B, which is part of Southern Europe, Turkey, Middle East, things are a little bit better. It's almost 27%. And of course, in Zone 22, Africa, things are amazing. Women reach almost 36%. This is really very important. And I believe we should conduct research why, for instance, in the same zone, we have two different percentages of women. I believe, of course, it's just a personal estimation, that in countries where in the past we had totalitarian political systems, we see that the presence of women is more weak, while in the other part of our zone, the women are stronger and they have a stronger presence. So it should be very interesting indeed to conduct research why, according to our statistics, why women in certain parts of the world have a more important presence and in others, why not? Women have proven their capabilities and efficiency as Rotarians, club presidents, district governors, regional and senior leaders. Their leadership qualities have been demonstrated at all levels of Rotary, club, zone, district, and of course now with the selection of Jennifer Jones as RI president nominee, we see them rise to the greatest ranks of Rotary hierarchy. Jennifer is the first woman president of Rotary International, but definitely there are going to be more women following her example. Let's see a little bit our history. I believe that Jean Harris, the faithful companion of Paul Harris, is the first lady of Rotary. She deserves this title because she accompanied Paul Harris, our founder, in his trips and in his great efforts to promote Rotary all over the world. Some famous women who have been involved with Rotary, not being Rotarians, of course. We have Eleanor Roosevelt. She wrote an article in the Rotarian in 1940. The actress Madeleine Carroll, again, she addressed a Rotary International Convention. Helen Keller, we all know Helen Keller, counselor of the American Foundation for the Overseas Blind. She wrote an article in the Rotarian and she addressed also an international convention in Lucerne, Switzerland in 1957. The famous author Pearl Bach addressed an international convention in 1959 in New York. So these are just some personalities who have been interested in Rotary. I don't know if you know the story, why we called the wives of Rotarians Rotary Anne plus your name. For instance, Rotary Anne Sharmila or Rotary Anne Denise. It's a nice story, and I'm always very fond of telling this story. In 1914, Rotarians of 13 clubs of the West Coast of USA traveled to Houston, as we're all going to do next year, I hope, for the Rotary International Convention. Among them was the spouse of the president of the Rotary Club of San Francisco, Henry Brunier, Anne. Everybody called her Mrs. Brunier. She didn't like that. She didn't like formalities. So she said, just call me Anne. She was going into the train and delivering small sweets and food and beverages to the Rotarians. And everybody liked her very, very much. She was a very social person. And then they made a song for her called Rotary Anne. When they arrived at Houston Railway, there were other Rotarians waiting for this group of Rotarians. So they hold Anne in her arms, starting singing the song. And then they decided from now on, all the spouses were going to be Rotary Anne, followed by their name. This is, I believe, a nice story you can tell how inventive women are, because they couldn't use the word Rotarian, they used just Rotary Anne as a substitute of Rotarian. Then in 1920, EWL's proposal at the 1912 convention to establish a women's Rotary Club of Duluth was rejected. We start our fight, we start, our efforts to be inducted in Rotary. 1921, 4 wives of Rotarians, members of Rotary Club of Chicago, asked to establish the Chicago Ladies of Rotary, but that also was not accepted. You see, you have a lot of difficulties at the beginning. In 1924, we have the foundation of Inner Will, which involves spouses of Rotarians. The first Inner Will Club was chartered in Manchester in 1924. And then in 1919, we have the foundation of Zonta International, which applies the same principles of Rotary for women members. We continue our course in the years. In 1978, we have the Rotary Club of Duarte, California, which disregards the RI Constitution, and it does 3 women are members. That was really a revolution. Rotary International revoked the charter of the club. That was a punishment. Then a longer judiciary fight started between the club and Rotary International. And finally, in 1987, the Supreme Court of the United States, with a decision 7-0, condemned Rotary International. This is the first victory of women. But it took 2 years until the COL of 1989 to accept women. The first woman club president was Sylvia Whitlock. She was in the club president of Rotary Club of Duarte in 1987, before the decision of the Council on Legislation. And finally, this is a historic moment. The Council on Legislation in 1989 suppresses the word male from its constitutional documents. The official admittance of women was accepted. But it took quite a long time to see the first district governors. It is only in 1995 that we have the first 8 women district governors, 8 altogether. So we can see those women pioneers in Rotary appearing on the cover of Der Rotarier, which is the German magazine of like the Rotarian, in April 1995. historic moment again, and this is a great picture. Then slowly, women rise up in the Rotary hierarchy. We have the first woman trustee of TRF in 2005, Caroline Jones from Alaska. For the first time, we have a senior leader in Rotary. And then the first woman director, Katerina Noyer-Rivaud from France. I happen to know her personally, a wonderful lady. She is a medical doctor, and she was the first woman RI director. The first woman RI treasurer in 2012, Elizabeth Betsy Desmarais, who unfortunately passed away after a long fight with cancer. 2013-14, the first woman vice president of Rotary International, a wonderful lady, Anne Matthews, a big personality in Rotary who has offered so much, serving as at the TRF Board of Trustees. She was also a RI director and the first woman to serve as a RI vice president. In the current Board of Directors, we are 3 women. So we are, sorry, 6 women. So this is quite a big number, 6 women. But in the next Board of Directors, out of 19 members of the board, 9 are going to be women. You know that men are in Rotary for 160 years, women only for 32. So you must not complain. In the course of 32 years, we have women at the Board of Directors with an equal balance next year. And we have the first woman elected as RI president for 2022-2023, Jennifer Jones. Jennifer opened new paths to leadership, and I'm sure she's going to be a role model for women who want to try to reach the highest rank as senior leaders. Let's see a little bit the role of women in leadership. Women are persistent and meticulous. They understand the importance of human communication. They have this sensitivity, and they are always ready to hear, to bend and hear the problems of others. They demonstrate tolerance and compassion and care about others with authenticity. You know, they are mothers, so they have this feeling of caring about other people. They are curious and creative. They are unafraid of transparency in voice and action. Yes, women most times are very determined and do very well what they start doing, and wherever they are involved in something, they want to fulfill it with success. They're sensitive and show emotional intelligence. They demonstrate strength and emotion in making key decisions. And they have a big advantage in regards to men. They have the flair of femininity. It's what we call in French, le parfum de femme. So they are capable of doing a lot. Let's see a little bit my story. You know, my personal journey to Rotary has been a long trajectory full of adventures and exciting moments. I come from Greece, as you know, and I have been inducted into Rotary through my father, who has been district governor. I think the role of the family of Rotary is very important. When you belong to a family of Rotarians, Rotary becomes part of your genes, you know. It is in your veins. So you are brought up with ideals of Rotary. So it is very, very important to enhance the idea of the family of Rotary. I joined Rotaracta at age 19, and reaching the age of 30, I was really very embarrassed because I couldn't continue my Rotary career as I wished, because at that time women were not accepted in Rotary. The role of Rotary Anne, Katerina, for instance, did not satisfy me. Working harder, I contributed to establish the first mixed gender club in Greece, my club, the Rotary Club of Pendeli. And then I must say that due to the openness of mind of certain Rotarians in our district, I managed to be the first woman at the high district level, being a district secretary in 1997. And this is due men Rotarians. We are not, rivals. We have to work together, and women, to do good in the world and to promote Rotary ideas. I was selected as club president in 2001. We have a lot of club presidents nowadays, and we can see that women are very successful at club level and at district level. Then I served twice as assistant governor, and always I was willing to work for Rotary. That is what really minds, is work for Rotary and not just try to get some offices and other things. It's always through hard work that both men and women Rotarians can achieve certain things. One of the most, I must say, powerful moments in my life in general, not in my Rotarian life, is when I've been in India as leader of Greece's first immunization team in 2009. It is at moments like those, like what you can see on the photo with the boy in a hospital which is run by Rotarians. It is at those moments you understand the real meaning of offering and what our organization is doing for a better world, for a world free of polio. You know, this child over there, it's 16 years old, or was at that time, of course, 16 years old. You should say, due to malnutrition, that he looks like a boy of 12 years old. He's never going to be able to walk. Rotary is just helping those children not to suffer, and perhaps with some artificial aids, and to be able to walk, but always with certain artificial things, that Rotary is providing them. But this boy will never be able to walk on his own. And it is a pity. If this boy had taken just 2 drops of the vaccine, he should be healthy now, just like our kids. So if you have the opportunity to participate in a National Immunization Day, please do it. It's a unique experience. And then you'll be really proud because you are a Rotarian. I was elected as district governor 2012-13. Sakushi Tanaka was our president at the moment with a very, very inspiring theme. It was peace through service. What can I say? Especially in the zone, in our part of the world, peace is something we need to work for. We have countries encountering even national conflict coexisting under the Rotary banner. I think that being district governor at that, having such a theme couldn't be better for my part of the world. Then I have always been involved in promoting Rotary's public image. At the time we started in 2012, 13, 14, Rotary's public image was not so well promoted. We focused on membership and TRF. And then we realized that we needed a third pillar to keep the building of Rotary standing up. And this pillar was public image. We believed in the past that our projects spoke for what that proved not to be true. We needed promotion. We needed to promote who we are and the wonderful things we're doing for a better world. So it was a privilege for me to work at the beginning as Assistant Rotary Public Image Coordinator and the Rotary Public Image Coordinator for Zone 20B. Zone 20B is the current 21B. At that time, working with the past RI director, Cornelio Dinka, we thought that we should enhance collaboration between the two parts of our zone. So for the first time, we organized a public image seminar and training of all the regional leaders in Thessaloniki, Greece. It is there that we started in Thessaloniki to work as one zone, covering an important area in Eastern Europe, Central Asia, and part of Southern Europe, Middle East, and the countries of the Arabic Gulf. So I'm very proud that I was part of this initiative, and it started in Greece. Then working for Rotary's public image, we worked a lot for areas, let's say in areas in Central Asia, where have been a little bit neglected in the past. These are wonderful areas where you can do a lot of things, where the countries also of the Caucasus area and so on, which Rotary's presence is very weak, very weak. In countries with a population of 11 million, we have hardly, even now, 30 Rotarians. So I focused on these areas, and as RI director, I still try to work for this part of the work. Loving, the sea, loving sailing, and so on, I introduced the International Yachting Fellowship of Rotarians in my country, and I contributed in chartering to fleets now. But another idea is the fellowships. Through the fellowships, we can promote Rotary. As I said at the beginning of my speech today, we must really strengthen our networking groups. And finally, in 2018, I was selected as a Rotary International Director, the first woman director for Zone 21. In my case, it has been a climb up the ladder process, trying to prove on each step of the ladder that women could become inspiring leaders. We must change the rules of the game. Women should see themselves in leadership selecting or electing. Of course, to avoid misunderstanding, just being part of this community of this or this identity does not qualify you to be a leader. The selection of a leader should be based on his or her talents, skills, and qualifications, regardless of genders. We are ready to open opportunities, create more paths to leadership, amplify our conversations to diverse voices, and adapt innovation for a stronger, more inclusive Rotary. We have already conducted 3 conferences for women, the first in Bucharest, the second in Budapest, and the third in Prague. We'll definitely organize, when, of course, the circumstances allow, another conference for women. And I think it is fair to organize it in one of the countries where we had to cancel another event due to the pandemic. So we're just waiting. It is difficult to plan nowadays due to travel ban where the next conference for women is going to take place. And I cordially invite you to participate and present the great work you are doing concerning the menstrual health and hygiene of women and girls. Just stop sharing. Before finishing, this presentation, I would like to speak a little bit about the empowerment of women. Rotary's theme for the next year is serve to change lives. Under this general concept, one of our main goals will be on empowering girls. President-elect Shekhar says, we are committed to educating all children, but focus a little bit more on girls. We'll concentrate on providing toilets and other hygiene facilities. Girls are more vulnerable to trafficking, especially sexual trafficking, and it is crucial that we protect them. It is a sacred goal to which all Rotarians should contribute. I look forward to a close collaboration with your action group to work in this perspective. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Katerina. That was wonderful listening to you talk from your heart. And your journey started early. You were part of a Rotary family and you were a Rotaractor yourself. So we could see where all the fire was coming from. And every department, you have had a magnificent presence and reached out at the right time to the right people, empowering all the way, India, Central Asia. Very, very important. I heard you mention that your district offered the support and you became a district secretary because you were engaged in all of the Rotary activities, of course. I had requested for all our listeners to post their questions in the chat. Before I could pick them up from the chat, I would like to ask a question to you in this Q&A session, the first question. Often we hear every country has their own challenges, but when women, as you rightly said, we've been there only for 32 years now. And so for leadership, there is always a competition along with men who form a larger part of membership. What is your advice besides getting engaged in Rotary, besides doing active work, for us to also hold positions, which is important so that all the qualities that you mentioned, we are able to present the activities and engage further and have a global reach. I know what we are doing in our Rotary International Women's Group. We have tried doing this with a cause, a project, and we are able to have the reach. But for others who are sometimes at the district level or at the club level, what is your mantra, I would like to call it, or the key line that you would like to say for women to come forward, to take positions? What is it that they need to do to walk along in partnership with their male Rotarian members?
Thank you for this great question. I think that women should dare present themselves in selecting or electing, because many women, of course, I mean competent women, women who have already proven what they can do. Because sometimes we see some women who really do not deserve a role, and they present themselves, and sometimes they get a position. We have some examples like that, which are not the good examples. And we have other women who are doing excellent job, and they do not dare present themselves. So you must start from there. As you know also, Rotary International is strongly promoting a diversity, equity, and inclusion culture. We have formed a task force in August, just this August, the August that passed right now. And this task force is doing excellent job. and is trying to provide regional solutions. Soon, the district governors and other Rotarians will receive a questionnaire. They have to ask it. And because I strongly believe in regionalization, we must find solutions that apply locally. And then we'll see how we can help underrepresented groups, like, for instance, women or youth, to be inducted in Rotary, and also to present themselves as leaders. I believe through this new approach will help women a lot, in reaching higher levels of leadership. But everything relies on each woman. Each woman has to try to do certain things. Thank you.
Thank you, Katerina. We have a question from Rotarian Anita Reddy. The question is, how do you rate the women leadership in service, particularly in Rotary?
Sorry, I didn't hear the word. How do
you rate the women leadership in service?
Okay. Oh, 100%, women, most of the times, and because they try to prove that they are capable, they are doing extraordinary things. For instance, in my district, we already had 4 women district governors. All of them did fabulous job. I don't think they did even more, if I may say, certain times, of course, than men district governors. We had 2 zone institutes when we had a woman district governor, and so on. So it's whenever a woman, as I said also in my speech, undertakes something to do it, she wants to do it very well. I think that women are more perfectionists than men. Saying that, I don't underestimate the work that men are doing. For God's sake, no. We must not. I'm not a feminist anyway. I have to declare, So it's. But we have to learn to work together. Of course, we have cases that men do not accept women. But then, if you prove that you are good in your job, nobody can say anything. And of course, if in certain cases, serious cases, women face some problems, then they can address to Rotary International and then to solve the problems. If there is a kind of any kind of harassment, I'm not only speaking about sexual harassment, I'm speaking about verbal harassment or any kind of harassment, then Rotary International will really support the case. But we must understand that we are not rivals. Men and women are the same, and they work for the same goals.
Thank you, Katerina. Totally true that. We have Vidya here.
Yeah.
And
hi, Katerina.
Hello.
Yeah. I was just thinking, while I agree with most of what you said, women have a long way to catch up, right? So, because we got in late. And if you notice, there is a certain path you have to follow to get into those leadership roles. So I was just wondering if there's any room for any kind of disruptive, path to get into the leadership roles quickly. Is that happening? Do you see that happening currently also? Otherwise,
No, I didn't see any case like that. Perhaps, of course, it's something that missed my attention, but I didn't see any case like that.
Okay, you have not seen anything like that, because what I felt was, only in 87 women were allowed. So, you have a big, huge advantage for the men who've had time to go through the roles and then climb up the ladder. I'm sure it must not have been easy for you to become an international director. So
no, because even in my profession, I'm an architect, so I have always dealt with men, in my job, even the workers or the other engineers and so on. But some women said, other architects, that they face problems. I never face problems. If people understand that you know what you are doing, they respect you. If you are not sure about yourself, and that comes out, and of course, then you have problems. So of course, there's still some clubs that do not accept women because they say the argument is that we started as a men's club, so how can we change? But things change. Things are not the same like in 1905. The society has evolved, and women had to fight. But I believe that in Rotary, it took them less time than in the society outside Rotary, It took them only 32 years to reach to the highest level of the Rotary hierarchy. And I'm sure that Jennifer, who is a talented person, is going to justify this choice,
Yes.
Thank you, Katerina.
Thank you. We are looking for brighter days. Priya Pillai, she has a question about your opinion on all women clubs or predominantly women clubs. What is your opinion about?
In my personal opinion, I prefer clubs with a balance between men and women. But of course, it's up to the club and also to the country and also to local culture. It's up to them. It's the same that we see clubs only with young people and clubs only with old people, only women, only men. It's a little bit the same. I prefer imbalances at all levels, age, gender, and everything. But as I repeat that, it's up to the club to decide what kind of form, because our new idea is the flexibility. Rotary is offering now so much flexibility, It's so anything is possible now if we want.
Are there any other questions? Anyone would like to raise your hand to ask Katerina directly? Param, you had mentioned, but the question is halfway.
Lloyd St. Andrew from Jamaica has a question.
Yeah. Lloyd has this question. Women are more than 50% of the world's population and only 24% of the population are Rotarians. Does the guest speaker think there could be some pushback from men from Jamaica?
Yeah, definitely. That's why women are not well represented in Rotary. That's what you showed at the beginning. But let's say in Africa, you have 35% now, 36 almost. Why? I mean, that's a problem because we have women which are active, so we still have a lot to do. Our goal is to have, by the end of next year, at least 30% of women, and slowly to reach to the, what's the idea, 50%, But we have to work. So having women at senior level, having, all these efforts that women are doing, projects, everything, opening Rotaract, the percentage of women, I didn't mention before, in Rotaract, it's very good. It's much, much better than in Rotary because young people are different. They think out of the box. And women Rotaractors are much, the rate of women Rotaractors is much higher than women in Rotary. So we started and we continue. And I believe that I'm optimistic, in a few years, we're going to have the perfect balance,
Katerina, since you mentioned about Rotaractors, I have a question in this regard. You said they are the next generation and they are thinking differently. Do you think we need to go back and look into this particular aspect where very silently we are giving a message that Rotary is, of course, a family business, the family members are involved. But if we take that bit away, there'll be many more single women, people from broken families to be easily engaging in Rotary. Because even if you see, though we are talking about it, a Rotary directory always has a husband and wife picture, there is an involvement. So do you think if we reduce it to just individual Rotarians, do you think this could open up the way for more men and women to join? Is there something that we need to look into there?
Definitely. And of course, at the COL of 2019, Rotaract is Rotary. it's no longer a Rotary program, it is Rotary. So the elevated status of Rotaract is helping a lot. Now, since July 2021, Rotaractors will be able to participate in global grants. So a lot has been done to help Rotaractors join Rotary, and we need young people, we need young blood, you know, in our organization. Of course, we have accepted dual membership between Rotary and Rotaract. There is no longer upper limit of age for Rotaractors. So all these are innovations. And I strongly believe that we must really focus on Rotaract. And for instance, in our Zone Institute this year in Athens, it was virtual, it's not in Athens, but we kept saying it was Athens 22 Zone Institute. The guest stars were the Rotaractors. Believe me, they didn't let me down. They've been wonderful. We had a very successful Zone Institute, according to whatever all people said, because the Rotaractors really led excellent panel discussions. They were really at the heart of our institute. It was a challenge for the organizing committee to trust them, and we did very well. That was the correct decision. We have to involve them more in our life, Rotarian life, in our clubs activities, and really focus on the empowerment of Rotaract.
Yes, thank you, thank you. I think we'll go for one last question from Dr. Manoj Joshi. Would you like to ask it yourself, Dr. Manoj?
Fantastic presentation, Katerina. I'm very impressed. Justifiably, there is a focus on women to take leading roles in Rotary. How do you suggest other aspects of equality, diversity, and inclusion are not lost in this single-minded pursuit to include women in Rotary in all the roles? And I said it positively because as president of my club in 1994, I started the first dual gender club in my district. So I'm very much, and my wife and my daughter are both Rotarians. So I just love women in Rotary because it's enriched my life. But I want to make sure that we do not lose the other aspects. So if you would be kind enough to shed your opinion on those, please.
The diversity, equity, and inclusion position statement of Rotary does not refer only to women and youth. It says that Rotary welcomes people of all cultures, identities, regardless of gender, of sexual orientation, of race, of color, of mental abilities, and everything. So it's a global statement which clearly states that Rotary is open to all groups, you know, of people. It's not just women. I mentioned that just, for example, that women and young professionals which currently are underrepresented, will be helped through this position statement. And of course, in each region, each district, each club, if I may say, we must define what diversity, equity, and inclusion mean. Diversity, equity, and inclusion does not mean the same thing in Europe, in Africa, in Asia, or in the United States. There are different problems, so we must define the problems in each part of the world and then work for a more inclusive Rotary. We need inclusion of all people in Rotary. It's not a closed club. It's not an organization that refers only to certain people. We want all kinds of people in Rotary.
Thank you. Yeah. We have PDG Al Khadija. Al Khadija, would you like to ask your question yourself? We'll finish with this. I thought we'll finish it with the previous question, but I saw a show of hands.
Yes, this question was also in the chat before that one.
Thank you very much. Thank you for Katerina for the wonderful communication. I have there is a problem in some Rotary club, particularly in the old club, the old Rotarian club, the Doyen club. That many Rotarian, old Rotarian, don't want women in the club. It's a problem for the club, and if you say you must have, I'm sorry, my English is not so good. And he say when you have women is the club, it was problem in the club. We don't want the woman. It's very difficult for us, and particularly for me, to motive this club to have a woman in the club. Thank you.
And it's exactly men like you, dear Abderrahman, that we need to support women, you know. We need the support of men, you know.
So, Dennis, would you like to wind it up with your
Yes,
question?
let me just make one last question, or maybe it's a comment, because you mentioned, Katerina, that there are many female Rotaractors, and I think there are great potential for Rotary. And if they do not continue being Rotarians, this is something we are missing from Rotary, from our side, because we have these girls there, and we have to make Rotary attractive for them. And actually, I have heard of Rotary clubs who refused to let ex-Rotaractors enter with the argument that they are too young. And being a Rotarian means you have to be higher standing, be more successful and more somebody. And I think this is a big mistake that the clubs are doing. Do you have any proposal how we can make Rotary attractive for female ex-Rotaractors, but also how we can change the mindset for the Rotary clubs not to refuse these Rotaractors?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I have also first-hand experience for this. When I was Rotaractor, were more women Rotaractors. That was back many years before. So at that time, only 2 of us joined Rotary because we're fighters. And in my case, my father was pushing me, to be honest, you know. All the others were lost, you know. We missed them. And women, you know, they are fabulous professors of the university now and so on. So I try to reach out to them now, telling them, why you don't join Rotary now? It's gone, you know. It's all, during all these years, they lost their contact. They said, now we have our own lives, we have our families, our profession, and so on. So we lost these women, and it is really a pity, you know. So.
Yes, thank you. I think we have to be very careful with this, and we have to work on.
We have, each one of us has to strive for the mentalities. Rotary is giving us the guidelines, but it's up to each one of us to do his own efforts, and let's say his own, in a way, revolution, you know, if I may say.
True. Thank you very much. I think this was the last question, but I have received many posts asking for your presentation. Yes. Would you be happy to share this with us?
Yeah, I have already shared with Sharmila. Yes. So you can distribute it, yes, and you can use it, no problem, no copyright. You can use it.
Thank you very much.
So let's
Sharmila, am I audible? Vidya, am I audible?
Oh,
yes, please.
Shall we wind up now?
Yes.
I think I can proudly
Katerina
say
has got
that
another meeting to go to.
No, I can proudly say I started the first all-women's club in Chennai, India. And Katerina was a part of it.
Also, I would like to invite you also to come to Prague in September in our Zone Institute. We'll have a special, we'll have in our program, we'll have special themes regarding networking groups. So, and also we'll have a House of Friendship where you can present your projects. So until September, you have the time to organize that. So it's going to be great if you join us in Prague. personally attach a lot of importance to networking groups. So as I said, I repeatedly said today, so it's a good opportunity, an institute, to present who you are and what you are doing. I know, of course, personally, I know a lot what you are doing because I was part of the committee which decided that you're going to be an action group. But people do not know you, so you have to promote yourself. So come to Prague and let me know if you want to have a booth or something. We can work for that, you know.
Over to you, Dennis, for a vote of
Thank you for
thanks.
the invitation.
May I also thank
Over to Vidya. Vidya is doing the voting.
Sorry, over to Vidya.
Thank you, Katerina. We've really been wanting you ever since already Venki told us that we should be inviting you, and I really thank Dennis, you know, for pursuing you, Sarmila and Dennis, to pursue and get you here to talk to us. It was really inspiring, and you know, it's always interesting to see women in Rotary and successful women in Rotary, and you know that it's really great to have you here, right from a journey as an annex protractor to the RI director, and you're so patient and you answered every question of ours, walking us through your experiences as a woman leader. So really thank you for being here with us today. And I would like to thank this really wide representation we've had today. You know, we had Saratoga, 5170-3080-1040, 3170 Jan, 4670-3011, many districts in India, Sweden, Algeria, Greece, UK, Argentina, Finland, Jamaica. Today is really, I think it's you who has done the magic. You really had a very wide representation today from the world over. And thank you for the invitation. We look forward to September, and we'll take your advice very seriously and make sure that we advertise what we are doing and get more people to come on board to support us. And once again, thank you. And thanks to our many people who joined us today, putting aside cricket, soccer, pets, chess, what and all, to be here with us. Really appreciate it. Thank you, folks.
Thank you, and hope to see you soon again.
Thank you.
On projects this time. Okay.
Welcome.